Hello, welcome back in my studio. I'm Tim Packer.
And I'm Brooke Cormier.
And we're here to film another session of the Mentorship program. So today we're going to talk about Brooke. She's been in a couple art festivals that have gone really well, plus another event we did. And then plus we're going to talk about shipping your work, because Brooke has a piece that she sold that she has to ship down to the US. So stick around and we'll get into that. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about you had your very first festival at the Whitchurch Stouffville Art Festival.
Yep.
So tell me how that went.
So I think it was a really good first experience. Sales weren't off the charts or anything. I think that the people who came also weren't really serious art buyers. They were just kind of out for a fun Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that I kind of underestimated the amount of work it would be, setting up my tent and doing all that stuff. And the grid walls are so heavy, and we forgot to get a dolly. But luckily, all the other vendors were so nice and let us borrow their dolly and that kind of thing. So my mom was there helping me the first part of the day, and then my sister and her girlfriend came for the second part of the day and helped me take everything down. So yeah, it was a good experience. I was handing out a lot of business cards. The food paintings were a big hit for that one.
I thought they would be.
Yeah, but again, I had a lot of people in my tent asking is it just one artist in here or two? Because I had all my landscapes over here and then all the food ones over there. So, but yeah, I handed out a lot of business cards and I got a few inquiries after through my website and stuff about commissions and whatnot. And I ended up winning the People's Choice Award too for the show, which was really awesome. And that came with a cash prize, so that was
and did you have any sales?
Bonus. Yeah, I did. Yeah, so I think in total I had around $650 worth of sales.
And that's that's okay. It's kind of would you do it again? Maybe not, but it's not because I had days where I was totally shut out. Not very many, but again, that's usually just on you realize, okay, this is not a place for me. But doing $600 in sales, it's okay, it's kind of an even Steven, right?
Yeah.
It's won't do it again, but don't regret.
And then there was also the People's Choice Award was $300 cash prize, so I was
so $900 for a day's work. That's.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Buys a lot of canvases and paint.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, the People's Choice Award, though, that to me, that's the one that means the most when you're trying to earn a living as an artist, because that's what's most important. So first of all, you're doing what you love. But that's the other thing I want. You didn't start doing these food paintings because you thought, oh, there's a market for food paintings, right? It kind of came out of nowhere, and you just. But then when you can sense there is kind of real interest in it, that's when it's perfect. When you're doing something you really want to do, and all of a sudden it's getting traction with people. Yeah. So that's worked out great.
Yeah, and I was talking to a lot of the other vendors towards the end of the day when there wasn't a lot of people there, just because I wanted to ask them what art shows they think are good or not, and this is the third year for the Stouffville Art in the Park, and a lot of them were also saying that this has been the slowest year for them too. So
so nobody was selling a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of comforting to know that it wasn't just my booth.
And
wasn't.
That's really important when you gauge because you got to gauge first of all, is the show good, and then also how did you do at the show? But if nobody else is really selling, then you just say, well, the show just isn't attracting qualified buyers.
Yeah.
If other people are selling a ton and you're not selling, then it's one of two things, right? It's either their art's better than yours, or often it's actually the opposite. Often it's kind of a price point, right? So it's kind of you've got to look at people who are selling a ton. Is their work less expensive and kind of a lower quality, and is your work higher quality and more expensive? Because every festival has a different kind of type of buyer in terms of how much they're willing to spend. Some festivals, the most anyone's likely to spend is $500 or $600. Some festivals, people are willing to spend $4,000 or $5,000. So it depends on what type of work do you have.
I don't think there was anyone willing to spend $4,000 at this one, but.
Okay, and so then we did the longest day of golf
Yes.
at Whiteville
Yep.
Golf Club. Another thing I talked you into.
Yep.
Right?
Longest day of painting.
Longest day of painting. And I actually did a vlog on that, how about if you're going to do, like, donate your work or do something for charity, that is the best way to do it. Where, so for those of you who don't know, Brooke and I, and also Wendy Birmingham, another artist friend of ours, we all set up early in the morning at Whiteville Golf Club. We started a painting each in the morning, and we finished the painting all that day, and those paintings went into a raffle to raise money for cancer. But the beauty about that type of thing is all day long, you're having the opportunity to interact with people. They're putting you in your face with your artwork. If you just donate a piece of art, people often don't even know where it came from or where it, you know what I mean? And you had some sales and other stuff happen while you were there, right? So tell me about that.
So I had done a painting of the 12th hole at Whiteville Golf Club. That was last year. And I still had the original painting, which was a 16 by 20. And then I'm making a 25 print limited edition. So I actually sold the original painting while I was there because I had it on display for everybody to see. And then I also made a print sale too. So somebody ordered a print, like a framed print and everything. So that was really exciting. It definitely made the whole day worth it. Not that it would have been worth it anyways, but
And then you also had inquiries about commissions.
Yes, exactly. So I had... and actually since then, so I did a triple bogey, the beer, that was my painting. It was just basically like a glass of beer with like the Whiteville, halfway house in the background and that kind of thing. So I had someone come up and say like, oh, how much are you selling this for? And I said, oh, sorry, it's for the charity event, so you can buy a ticket and enter to try and win it. And they said, oh, well, I'm interested in commissioning you to do one because, my friend's a big triple bogey fan or whatever. So that was exciting. But now I've actually had like a few inquiries about prints of this one. So I was going to ask you about that too. Like actually someone from the golf course said that there's a couple that are moving away and then they wanted to get a gift for them. I hope this isn't ruining any surprises.
Well, I don't know if they'll be watching my vlog.
Yeah. So anyways, so there's that. And then also I emailed the Triple Bogey, the owner of it, and said like, you can use my painting for any like kind of like advertising or anything you want, really, because I'm looking for more exposure on my end.
Well, because they commented on the Instagram post.
Yeah, and they reblogged or they reposted
and they asked how
it.
much the tickets were.
Yeah, and they wanted to. I think they wanted to purchase the original, and they inquired about me painting them an original. But then I'm like, how many do I really want to paint of the same thing? Yeah, exactly. So now I'm thinking like, how much interest is enough interest to make like prints worth it?
But even if you do 10 prints, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you do 10 prints because again, it's a fairly limited thing. So the one thing you do have to be concerned about there's copyright issues.
Yeah.
Because Triple Bogey
logo
is on there.
Yeah.
So you do need to get permission from them in writing to do the print. So you're already talking to them. And I would think that they're probably interested because that's advertising
for their
thing. But you do need that permission. So it's okay for fair usage when it comes to copyright. It's like a one-off painting is good. But as soon as you start reproducing it, now you need their permission because so you do need to, before you decide to do prints, you need to have it, and you need to have it in writing. So you could even just, figure out what you want to do, get their agreement, and then just like email them like a letter, whoever has the ability to grant your permission to use the copyright, and just get them to sign and date it and send it back to you.
I think I'm actually emailing with the actual owner of it.
Because the law in Canada is if there's no agreement in writing signed by both parties, there is no agreement. So verbal agreements, I've actually run into that before. Verbal agreements don't count. So you just need to want to make sure you're covered for that. And then again, I would think that they're probably interested in that because it's a great painting of their brand. It just makes you want to go buy a Triple Bogey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was great. And then we actually have the raffles coming up, I guess, I think this weekend.
July 1st
I think it's this
is
weekend.
when they do the raffle.
So that'll be cool. Yeah. and then you did the Kensington Market. So I haven't even really talked to you, just
Yeah.
briefly. So tell me how that
Yeah,
went.
so that was this Sunday.
That was in Toronto.
Yeah, in Toronto. So I got there at 9:30 in the morning, and it was just, they had the tent set up already, which was nice.
So you didn't have to set up a tent.
Yeah, so I just brought like the grid walls and then the walls of the tent, so that was good. And I had a few friends there helping me. And then they left after everything was done, and it was around like 20 minutes to like opening time, which was at noon. And then there was this huge thunderstorm, and it was like torrential downpour, and it was like lightning and thunder, and I'm like, oh my god, if it's like this all day, like I'm not gonna sell anything. I had to like move my paintings. They were getting like splashed, and there was like a river running through my tent basically.
Thank God I don't paint watercolor.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And all of my backpack was on the ground. I didn't even realize. All my lunch got all wet. But anyways, it ended up clearing up like right before the actual show started, and then it was beautiful for the rest of the day. So I got a lot of traffic through my tent, which was awesome. And I ended up making 2 really big sales. So the first one, this woman came in and she bought the deconstructed bison burger and the 662 Dundas Street West one, which is
that was from like our second episode together.
From
right?
a long time ago. So I guess like her kids were both like, oh, we like that one, and she was like, well, will you give me a deal if? And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So it gave her like $50 off or something. She said great, and I wrapped him up for her, and that was like $1,000 right there, like right off the bat, and I was like, wow,
it's a good day.
I know, worth it already. Like this is great. And I had a lot of people coming in, and everybody really seemed to like the minis, like the tiny ones. And actually for this show, because I was selling them at the Stouffville Art in the Park, and they were doing like okay, but for this show I had a bit of a sale. So instead of for $30, I was selling them for $25 each. And I added magnets on the back of them, so I spent
so they could stick on the fridge.
Yeah, so I was making them into like fridge magnets, and then they also came with a mini easel too, so they're like versatile, and I was really pushing that for this show. So I ended up selling like 4 of them, and then this man came and said, will you give me a deal if I buy all of them? And I was like, yes. So there was 4 missing because there had already been 4 purchases. So I just said, I'll make the rest of them for you for free, because he wanted to, and he just went, because I had a little like portfolio book out with like the print of all 64 of them, and then he just kind of went through and picked out the 4 that he liked, and then I just painted for them for him. And so that was like another like $1,000 purchase basically. So I was like, woo, like this is great. I was really excited about it. And then for the rest of the day I didn't have like too many other big purchases or anything, but I had a few of like my little 5x7s. I sold all of those, and there was a ton of people.
Oh, you're getting so blasé about sales now, eh? A few 5x7s. But that's what happens, right? You get used to it. It's like, wow, there's $1,000 here, $1,000 there. Before you know it, that adds up to serious money.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And now that I have that little square reader, like makes that all possible. I was just, it was really
so let's
exciting.
talk about that. So you have Square that hooks up to your phone.
Yeah, but I actually bring my iPad for that because you have to sign with your finger. And it's easier, I think, on a big screen for people to sign. So I just keep my iPad there with the Square reader, and then everybody can pay.
But you do need to have phone access with that, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that a problem at Whitchurch?
Well, actually, yeah, because somebody wanted to make a purchase with their credit card, and I was there, and I had the thing, and I'm trying to get in, and then I'm like, oh my god, you need Wi-Fi, and we're in the middle of this field, and I don't have Wi-Fi, and I was freaking out. But then I realized with technology, you can make your iPhone like a hotspot, and then I just made that a hotspot, and then hooked up.
So as long as you have cell
back.
service.
Yeah, exactly. So
and most of those too, you can just put in you could type it and do it after the fact.
Yeah, I think.
But I would just say if you're going to do so, and I've done that before. I've actually had sales where people, they're out walking their dog or something, and they see a piece they love, but they don't have money on them. And this was actually before I was taking Visa. I would just show me a piece of ID, write down their name and their information, give them my mailing address, and say, you can take the painting now and just mail me a check.
Yeah.
And I had actually a friend of mine, Shell Orling, who really taught me the ropes. He said he'd done that like 10 times, never been stung. Twice he just had to, once he had to phone the person just to remind them, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. And then there was one time where 2 phone calls, like I said, yeah, I'll do it, but he never did. So he just sent him a registered letter saying, if you don't pay me, I'll be seeing you in small claims court, and the check came right away.
Yeah.
Because a sale's a sale, right? Yeah. Now there are, Marty, stop that. I actually just did a vlog the other day about people trying to defraud your work on the internet. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are, I was going to say, people aren't out there trying to defraud artists of their work, but there are actually, but that's more on the internet. Generally, people who are coming to art festivals, whatever, they really love art, they love artists, and they know how difficult a grind it is. So usually, unless it's a huge purchase, you're probably okay to kind of even just get their information. Or if you can't do the actual transaction, just ask them for a piece of ID so you know who it is, and then put it in later.
Yeah, I never even thought about doing that.
Or, again, if they're local, you can kind of talk to them later. But sometimes I've had people that were on vacation here from Germany, right? And it's like, so that they're not coming back next week
exactly.
to buy the piece.
This man actually that bought all the 3x3s, he's from California. So I have to go downtown again tomorrow to meet him to give him all of the rest of the things. But
so having squared that ability to do, if you're only doing checks and cash, you're missing out on potentially 2 or 3 times the sales you could do.
Yeah.
If you're going to be doing the festivals, you really need to have some sort of thing.
But I really took to heart what you said about like how even just 2 people can make such a huge difference. Because I'm like, if those 2 people didn't show up to this show, then like, who knows how much money I would
Exactly.
make,
They just say that show sucks, or I won't do that, or this whole thing is not going to work, right? Because you had probably like a couple people at Whitchurch. And then you had a couple people here. It's like if those 5 people didn't show up, this would be a very different conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but this is like fishing. It's like, you got to have a line in the water. And that's it. And it's a numbers game. It's kind of like if you do, over the course of the year, 15 or 20 shows, then some of them will be over the top, and some of them will be not so much, because those 3 or 4 people who have the opportunity to make a huge difference didn't show up for whatever reason. So it's just a matter of doing them, and then you get a feel too for which ones are good. Typically, if you do a show, so like if you do a show, like you're doing Oakville Art in the Park, I'm thinking, knock on wood, I think you're probably going to do 3,000 to 6,000 in sales there, just based on what I used to do. And so, but it's kind of like if you do that, then okay, you can kind of count on that happening, because it's not 2 or 3 people there. That's a show you have to pay to get into. There's going to be a lot of people there, serious buyers. That was a show where I had my first 3-fer. So I had like 3. So one guy's like, I want this one. Someone's like, I want that one. Someone else like, I want this. I had 3, and then another guy's like, oh, they just picked all 3 that I was interested in. So literally 4 people there, all at the same time.
Oh my
and the
God.
one guy's like, everything he wanted was gone. And
I would just have a heart attack.
and so, but it's a target-rich environment there. You've got lots of potential buyers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about your sales, because we're getting close to the end of your first year, right?
Yes.
And so you've done about 4,000 in sales in June.
Yes,
right?
Just this month.
So
this is by far the best month so
and so
far.
That's 2 festivals, that's stuff through doing the longest day of golf, plus commissions, plus stuff through social media or whatever. And so that's great, because do the math. If you can make that an average, that's $50,000 a year basically coming in. And to put that in perspective, I was in my 5th year of painting full time before I did 30,000 in sales. So I told you are on track to be much further ahead than I was at the same time, which I think is 2 things. It's I think, and I've said that to you before, I think our skill level is about the same. Your skill level starting last year, was probably about the same as mine starting when I left the police force. And I hope the people that are watching this take heart to the stuff in the vlog. But I really do think I wasted a lot of time, right? I wasted a lot of time just figuring out that, that's not working, or that. And so it is really about knowing what to do and how to go about it, and then also the work ethic. Because you are in the studio painting almost every day, right? And so that's
and
what
if
you
I'm
need
not
to do.
painting in the studio, I'm doing other
Then
stuff.
you're doing video, or
Social
you're
media.
doing designing a website, doing your business cards,
Yeah.
whatever. But I just think that's great. That I mean, I know that's your highest month so far, but that's not going to be your highest month in the next 12 months. So so you're off to a great start.
Yes.
And now we're going to talk about shipping. You've got a painting that you need to ship down to the US.
Yes, that's
Okay?
right.
So I'm going to teach you to fish instead of handing you a fish.
Okay.
And teach everyone else how to fish here. So when you're shipping anything, you basically have 4 things you need to worry about. So you need to worry about packaging. First of all, it's like, how are you going to package up the painting to go wherever it needs to go? You need to worry about the carrier in terms of how are you going to get it there. Is it going to be FedEx? Is it going to be UPS? Is it going to be DHL? Whatever. You also need to be concerned about the documents. So if you're just shipping within your own country, that's not really an issue. But if you're going outside of the country, then there's certain documents that are required. And then the last thing is payment. You have to figure out. Now, you've already been paid for this piece, right?
Yes, I've been paid for the piece, and then he just said that
Bill
send me
for
the
the
bill
shipping?
for
Yeah.
the shipping
Okay,
one.
but often what happens when you're shipping is someone is purchasing the piece from that country, and so you have to worry about the payment coming in before you ship. So let's talk about packaging first. Okay, so we basically have there's 3 levels of packaging. And so for our canvas, and it depends on how big and how expensive the piece is, which level you go to. So for like our canvas giclées, we started out using the styrofoam pink insulation. So this is stuff you can buy at any hardware store, and it comes in 2 different thicknesses, and they come in like 2 foot by 4 foot sheets. But we found that was kind of overkill. So what we do for our canvas giclées now is we put 2 sheets. We wrap it in bubble wrap first. So this is a giclée that's already stretched. We wrap it in bubble wrap, and then we put 2 sheets of cardboard on the print side face, and we put 1 sheet on the back. And then we also put bubble wrap kind of rolled in tubes around it to kind of nest it in the box so that it's not banging against the side, so that it's in there. So that's what we do for our giclées. For smaller paintings, I just use this. So same thing, I'll wrap the painting in bubble wrap. I'll get the 1-inch styrofoam, pink styrofoam, put it against the face. I'll put another one against the back, and then wrap that whole thing in bubble wrap and put it in a cardboard box. And that's very, very secure. At a certain point, when you get to a certain size, or also I guess it just depends on the value of a piece. Like I'm okay, I'll do that with like a painting that's still worth $2,000 or $3,000. But when you get into big paintings, then you're looking at a crate. And there's an easy way to do that. Basically, say you've got a 3 foot by 4 foot painting, you get a piece of plywood that's 2 inches extra on also 4 inches more. So if it's a 36 by 48, then you need a sheet of 40 by 52 inch plywood. And you basically, you put the 2 sheets of plywood, you put the plywood down, and then you get 2x4s, and you just put them all the way around the edge so it creates like a pocket. You wrap the painting in bubble wrap, and then you put the other sheet of plywood on top and screw all that together. Screw it.
Oh, screw it.
Yeah. And then that's very, very secure. But that's also very heavy, which is going to cost you more for shipping. So you have to kind of weigh that. I would say for your piece here is to wrap it in bubble wrap, sandwich it on both sides with the 1-inch thick styrofoam insulation. You could even, if you want, I probably would for this, just so once you've got the whole thing wrapped with styrofoam on both sides, then put a strip of styrofoam, cut it, and put it around the edge too, so that it's just kind of covered on all things. And then use bubble wrap if needed, just to nest it within the box.
So it's not moving.
And then you also want to put, so you can buy these at Business Depot, fragile stickers, and then also you can get ones, or I just actually often write it on with with a marker, do not stack, because you don't want them laying it flat and stacking stuff on top.
Okay.
So that's really important that it says do not stack on all sides.
Yeah.
Because that's what will end up wrecking it, right? If they put a carton on it and the corner goes through.
Yeah.
And then also there's these little packing list enclosed things. So if there's any paperwork required, then you put that in the little thing on the outside.
Okay.
So that the customs people or whatever know what they have to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk generically about kind of the shipping documents and things like that. So wherever you are, so this is not a definitive thing. This is to help Brooke. This is what we do, and it works well for us. Has been, but we've only really been actively shipping for about a year, I guess, since we opened the Shopify store. And we're shipping a lot to the US and to Europe. But the types of things you may have to do. So if you are shipping from Canada to the US, then artwork is covered by the free trade agreement. So you will need a North American Free Trade Agreement Certificate of Origin. And so all of this stuff I'll give you copies of, and you can just basically change it for your stuff.
Okay.
But it basically has to say what the goods are, and it says that it's been produced in Canada, kind of. Anyways, I won't go into the details. And for any of this stuff, for any other people, wherever you are, there's a great resource. You can find out all of this stuff. Get your pens ready. So it's GOOGLE. Please do not send me questions or comments about that. I had to figure this all out by myself. And it's all on Google, or contact your postal service or your customs or whatever. So you need a certificate of origin to say that basically it's a piece of art that was created in Canada.
Okay.
And if you're doing reproduction, so this is an original, so you don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing reproductions, then certain states in the US require a certificate of authenticity.
Okay.
And we just did this up on the computer. It's, again, these are not worth the paper they're printed on, because anyone can make one up.
Yeah.
But what it does do, which is required, is that it actually states what the print edition is. So it states how many prints are being made, that it's signed and numbered by the artist. So if you're doing, several editions, but you have to list all the stuff that is being done from that image.
Okay.
And you can take this too.
And that's only for
prints, but you're probably likely going to start doing that. And then another thing is a commercial invoice. If you're shipping to the US or internationally, you need to have a commercial invoice that goes on the outside. So that's
and that would
kind
go
of the
in one of these
documentation.
things?
All of that goes in the little sticker. The certificate of authenticity we pack right inside the print, because that's not required by customs. That's just required. It's another law. That if you sell limited edition prints in certain states, you need it. So we just include it with all of our U.S. ones. Mm-hmm. And the commercial invoice, where we get that from. So that's the documentation. The next thing is how you ship it, the carrier that you use. So we use something called ShipTime. And if you just go to shiptime.com, just Google ShipTime, and you will get their information. Yeah, shiptime.com. And what ShipTime does, it's amazing. So we put into ShipTime like the size, the weight, and where it's going, and then it will pop up like DHL's price, Purolator's price, UPS's price, FedEx price, and it's not always the same carrier. So depending on the size and where it's going, sometimes it's one, sometimes it's another. And so that way you're getting the best shipping every time.
Yeah.
And if you do go through ShipTime, it will, when you put all that in and so with ShipTime, you give them a credit card number, and then you print up your documentation too. So you print it up, you just tape it on the front. They send a truck to your house to pick it up. You don't have to take it anywhere. And it will also print out the commercial invoice for you. So that's in terms of the carrier. So ShipTime, we find that really, really helpful. And then when it gets to the packaging, so we Uline, I don't know if you've heard of Uline. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you make a purchase from Uline, or you could probably ask them, they send you a catalog. They have like a bazillion different combinations of boxes, but you usually have to buy them in bundles
Yeah.
of 10 or 20 or whatever. We do order some of our stuff from them, but you can also check into locally if you have packaging manufacturers. So we have someone here in Oshawa, Boxes on the Move.
Okay.
And so that's who I would, because I don't think what size is that painting?
It's a 24 by 36.
Okay, we might actually have a box you can use.
But there's a place in Oshawa.
So there's a place in Oshawa, and you can actually buy them one at a time from them.
That's
You
good.
can buy a single piece. Now they're more a moving box provider, so they don't have the same kind of bazillion different combinations, but they do have. So we use their kind of medium mirror box, their large mirror box, their small mirror box. Those are great for
Yeah,
shipping
because I don't
paintings.
think I'd be looking to buy in bulk right now.
No, because you're doing all different
Yeah,
sizes.
exactly.
Like for us, it only really started making sense when we're shipping a lot of G-clays. Because
Yeah.
we know, okay, we're gonna do a lot of 30 by 40s, a lot of 3 foot by 4 foots, and then we get into the even bigger ones.
Yeah.
But they're good, kind of locally. And then in terms of payment, of how to pay for it, so there's a number of things that you can do. So we just started last year. When was it, Cameron? In like July when we started the Shopify store. July, because it was for the Shall We Dance stuff, or August. August or September, yeah. So Shopify is a company that they are a payment service, and you can actually, if you have a WordPress site, you can actually build your Shopify store on WordPress, and they have tutorials online. So Cameron learned how to do it all just through following their online stuff, and that's a really effective, secure way, because people have to either put in their PayPal information or else put in their credit card information, and then it gets kind of vetted through Shopify.
Yeah.
Now, is there a chance that you're going to get stung? There's always a chance, but as opposed to you just taking someone's credit card number over the phone or something. So we find that works out really well. What we do often with Shopify too, so you may find, especially once you start selling prints where you've got a SKU that's just always there. But say someone calls and says, oh, I'd like to buy that painting. You can create a unique Shopify page for that item and for wherever it's going to be shipped, but not kind of make it visible on your website.
Okay.
And then you can send that person the URL link to that page. They can click on it, so then they can go. So it's not available for anyone else to see because you don't want.
Them.
But they're the ones that can see it, and
Yeah.
then they can go. Then you can still handle your payment through Shopify.
Okay.
And we find that works really well. And I love that when you get the email. Right? It's like, oh, from Shopify, and you check, and it's like someone's just bought a $1,200 G-clay or whatever. And then there's a slight delay. It's usually 4 or 5 days until the money gets deposited in your account because they're waiting to make sure that it clears.
Yeah. So for Shopify, do you have to pay like a certain amount?
You pay a percentage.
Okay.
And
Like
it's
off of each purchase?
Each purchase. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's although we have the there's like a free version, I think, and then I think we're on the deluxe version. Although we're thinking of maybe not doing, because it gives you all kinds of reporting and stuff, but we don't do enough that we need. We know that, okay, we're selling a lot of these or more of these or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. It's kind of like Squared. So it's
Yeah.
like you're not having any sales. It's not covered. There might be a minimum.
I think Square is like 2% or something off of each.
And I think it's similar. But we had the old, the click clack, and they were charging us $10 a month.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, a $20 piece of equipment, right? We had that for like 10 years. So that's like $100 a month, $120 a year. We spent $1,200 renting this little click clack thing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of it, you still pay the fee on your sales.
Yeah.
So this is a much better way. But the other way that is really good that for purchases, I think it's under $2,000, is e-transfers, where someone can actually send you a transfer via email. Just make sure that the security password is a unique one each time.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, if you have a major purchase, so all of this stuff we're talking about, I would be fine with, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 or something like that. But like we had a big piece go to England last year was like a $16,000 painting, I'm taking zero chance on that.
Yeah.
So then it's a wire transfer. And we do that basically, we're okay with Shopify for any US stuff, but if it's a major purchase going to England or Europe, then it's a secure wire transfer and you just talk to your bank about that. But that's actually, because any of these other things is a promise from that person.
Yeah, and you don't want to trust anybody.
Yeah, because it's
16
like if there's
grand.
like when it finally comes back, if they've given you a fraudulent credit card number or a fraudulent certified check or something like that, when it comes back to the bank comes back to you for the money and you're out. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas a secure wire transfer, that's from a bank to your bank. That's it. There's no one to come back on, and then you never ship until the payment's received and cleared.
Yeah.
Too. But cleared doesn't mean it's good. If it's in terms of a check, it just means that like there's a certain number of business days the bank requires. Certified checks, I've mentioned it before, just so you know and everyone else that didn't. Certified checks are not worth the paper they're printed on now, unless it's from someone who you know. So if you give me a certified check, I know it's good because I know who you are. But if you're being, courted on the internet by James Smith and he's going to send you a certified check, you don't know who this is.
Yeah.
And there's a huge amount of fraudulent certified checks. They're actually counterfeiting them, or they're taking them and washing them, which means they kind of remove all the payee and payer information and then they put it back in. And so certified checks I would never accept unless it was someone that I actually know.
Yeah.
And even then I'd rather have Visa or PayPal or whatever. Yeah. So that's I guess that's it for everything that's going on in the shipping. Now, you're also going to stay. Cameron's going to actually walk you through the printing, and you're going to do the test strips for the daisies while we have it here, and then hopefully get the proof of that. But we're not going to record that. Sorry, just too much going on.
Yeah, it's a lot of good.
And then you're off to Germany in a couple weeks.
Yes, in a few weeks.
So probably won't have another one of these till you get back. Because I have my show coming up at my pop-up gallery in 2 months, and I only have 3 paintings right now. So
we're both very busy.
We both have to get in the studio and paint.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'm Tim Packer.
And I'm Brooke Cormier.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you found this helpful, inspiring, and educational. And if you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I welcome your comments and questions, and spread the word to your other artist friends. We will see you next time.